Alright, so I've seen the Minecraft movie, and this is another video game adaptation where the world of Minecraft comes to life, especially as it is a focus on our main characters. They get transferred over with all the elements and all the things combined from the game, especially with the Easter eggs. It wasn't what I expected, but I do have things to say about it. This will be my full non-spoiler review for the movie, going over my thoughts, my honest opinion, especially for what worked and what didn't work, and much more to talk about right here. And so, if you're new, then be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so don't miss out on any future videos, including movie reviews and all that stuff that you see here. But now, let's hop right into it. And now, when it comes to video game adaptations like we've seen in the most recent time, like with The Last of Us, the Super Mario Brothers movie, Five Nights at Freddy's, and now with the Minecraft movie, and especially if you know the material and everything that is about Minecraft. I mean, it has a pretty big fandom and audience, because especially if you play the games, because even though I barely know it, but even though I played it a few times based from my experience, because especially for what you can do in Minecraft, is that you have all these tools to build whatever you can on your imagination to defeat creatures and stuff like that. But now, especially with Warner Brothers that greenlit this adaptation into a movie, and even though for how the atmosphere looked based on our first look at footage of it, because I thought it really looked so awful of the way that they wanted to approach it, because especially with the characters and with some of the plot, which I'm going to get into in a bit. But even though I found it to be sort of a bit good, and it's not as bad as people thought, I still have mixed feelings on it, because especially for how they wanted to go with this story, this movie for Minecraft. They wanted to have a concept presented to its audience. Now, even with the main premise of this movie is that it's with four people, and that started with siblings named Natalie and Henry, and with Jason Momoa's character who plays Garrett, who's who owns a video game store, as they travel to a portal named the Overworld, where they meet up with a crafter named Steve, played by Jack Black, and they had to figure out a way to get back home by using the Orb of Destiny, because even though if you know what that is, what they presented in the footage for the marketing, it's basically like a cube, but it's shaped like a tesseract from the Marvel movies. I just generally think of the way that these characters are formed, and for how this is definitely going to be approached to a younger audience, because especially if you know that this is like having that kid friendly tone, and there's even though it is got some like lighthearted moments, it's got like humor, but it acts like a comedy more than like a Minecraft movie, because even though with like a story points and just with everything about the plot, it's sort of like all over the place, and even though along with the brother and sister storyline, I found that very interesting, and it's sort of like good, because it's especially with these siblings, because they have a history with their mother, and now and even though I found that chemistry to be like very good, because especially for how they interact with Jason Momoa's character, which I found Jason Momoa to be kind of hilarious because of the way that I find and comedic bits there and there. But I want to point out with Jack Black, because even with his character named Steve, and because especially if you know Jack Black, he's Jack Black, and like he really delivers all the style, and really delivers all the best humor he could possibly deliver. But I want to say, just with parts of the story, they felt so out of place, and they really want to rush this thing to the finish line, because it felt like these characters like spend their time in the Minecraft world, the overworld, and have to get back home, especially with the journey that this takes them on. Because even though I kind of found it like very fascinating to see, especially for how fans of the games will react to this. Plus, there are Easter eggs, there are stuff like details from the games, which I'm sure it will be talked about. But I just generally think that people will definitely have a different point of view and perspective for how they view this movie. And also, I liked Jason Momoa and Jack Black. They are a great duo in this movie, and basically for how they interact as sort of like cool characters, but even with the way how this movie was going to be presented as, because if you know the games from Minecraft, they're essentially like square people, but they want to approach this in like such a generic, and it's so predictable of like, even though it doesn't take itself too seriously, it acts like a fun little kids movie that I think a 9 to 10-year-old would enjoy. But I think somewhere down the line, I don't know if this will be a movie to throw on in the background, if you know what I mean. Like fans of the games will definitely have like a good point of view for how they view it. And even along with Jennifer Coolidge, and I thought that she was gonna have a small role, but it turns out it cuts like back and forth to our characters like having the journey of following that plot line. We come back and forth to that, and Jennifer Coolidge's character for like no certain reason, because even though I mean Jennifer Coolidge, like, she is cool, but I have a feeling that she was not needed in this movie. But I don't know, she was in there for no reason. Like with the rest the things that go on in this movie, I just did not care about. And I think like towards the end of the movie, and I kind of feel like there are gonna be more movies after this, especially with Minecraft 2, and especially if it does well box office wise. But it does deliver a good ending enough for a second movie or plenty of more movies if they decide to do that. But I just generally think with a video game that has a big audience, such as with Minecraft, I mean, people will definitely say like good things about it. There are sequences or parts of this movie that definitely got a laugh out of me, because like, I cannot count how many times I cannot stop laughing based on the comedic bits and like some of the humor or some of the stuff that our characters pull off to make it like sort of like their own comedic bits, what their character was written, and even though like especially with the character of Henry, of with the way of how his story was told, he basically wants to build stuff. The story really uses his mind and imagination to really craft something like big, and I really enjoyed the character of Henry. I really do, especially with Natalie, that is like the big sister to Henry, and with the way other sibling dynamic, which I felt was very, very cool. The other parts of the main storyline, I kind of felt like very, very good. Even if you look at it, I think it would just be called Minecraft movie. But what I also want to add is that with parts of the plot, it just felt all over the place, and for what our main characters like had to learn, I think towards the end of it, it really resonates with the characters for what we need to learn about them, if their story, if their mission was accomplished, and it is definitely a good feeling. Just to add to that point, and even though I have liked the atmosphere of Minecraft, of this world brought to life, and especially with the tools and everything that is built into it, because I think like I mean people will definitely be starstruck with the amount of work that it is to have all these elements, because especially if you played the games, you'll definitely get a kick out of this movie. But from my perspective, it's just like a funny movie filled with gags and bits, and it's just like a fun little predictable movie. And it's definitely going to be approached to little kids and sometimes adults. But yeah, but at the end of the day, it is just another video game adaptation that totally went wrong. Even though like there are some bad things, but yeah, that's all I gotta say about it. And to wrap it up with my final thoughts, and I think like if you are a fan of Minecraft, or if you're just like a casual moviegoer that's curious about this movie, or if you just want to see and form your own opinion, just like go ahead. Especially if you love Jack Black, especially Jason Momoa, and you'll definitely get a kick out of this movie as well, because it's got like I think a great cast. It's sort of like a good story to tell, but even though with parts of the plot I was not a fan of or did not care about, but it's nice to get a good lighthearted feel story that's definitely funny as well. But that's gonna do it for this video. Just let me know in the comments below, and if you've seen the Minecraft movie or if you're planning on seeing it, give your rating between 1 out of 10. I'm curious to share your opinion in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to notifications for future videos. You'll also follow all my social medias or linked down below. And with that, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.